Live from New York, it's the show that's being hosted by Weezy F Baby, and the F is for first things first.
So, Brew, do you think Wilds will learn not to be off work now when we're working?
Wilds who?
I mean, exactly. I mean, there's getting Wally pipped, and then there's getting Lil Wayne. It's a totally different scenario.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
We start the show in the Bay, though. The NBA All-Star Game debuted their new mini-tournament format last night, I guess. Shaq's OGs took down Team Chuck in a race to 40 for the championship. Curry winning MVP. Rue, you a fan of the new format?
I'm not a fan of the new format, but I will say it worked. It was much better than the last 7 years or so.
Yeah.
Like, they competed. Like, the desired end of it came to pass because I was much more into the games than I was, the previous 5 or 6, whatever it was. Yeah. They competed, they defended, you saw block shots. It wasn't all three-pointers. Like,
you saw whining about missed calls, which means people cared.
Right,
Actually...
Right. They were competitive, and that's what we want. It's a shame they couldn't just play a regular All-Star game and be close to that level of competition. But I thought that worked. The problem was the breaks in between the games, and even in the championship game, which obviously is only up to 40, that's like not even a quarter and a half probably, you had a 20-minute break.
Yeah.
And I heard from, the players were complaining about it, but I also heard from people that were at the game, and like, it was just way too many breaks. We talked about it earlier. It was like a 3-hour show and about 30 minutes of live basketball. So it just felt like you're not getting enough basketball. And you're certainly not getting, like, Steph's the MVP. That's fine. He deserved it. But it was like, this doesn't feel like a normal MVP because it was chopped up so much.
I think even Steph said that with the award.
So I think that we maybe got too far into the criticism of the All-Star game because, so last 2 years were brutal.
Terrible.
But 2022 was a good game with a good finish. They did the Elam ending,
but that was a change.
Right, that was a change. And 2020 was an awesome game, and it felt like it was, because, go ahead,
They wore the Kobe jersey.
Exactly right. That was right after Kobe had passed everyone. So 2020 was good, 2022 was good, and then last year and the year before were laughable. And so they make this change. I thought the basketball was better than the production. Yeah. And so it felt to me like there are some tweaks that need to be made. Like, and everybody loves Kevin Hart, but there was a lot more Kevin Hart than it was Kevin Durant. You know what I mean?
It was more Kevin Hart than anybody.
But anytime you do something new, it's like, oh, okay, this worked, this didn't. And so I have, like.
So you want to stick with this format?
I liked it. What I didn't, so I understand, and we'll play the Draymond sound in a bit, the complaint about the young guys getting in. Yeah. I understand that piece of it.
Right.
I think that this format, if you tweaked it to where instead of being to 40, it was to 50, and where it was instead of 8-man teams, 7-man teams, and all-stars, that works. Now you're going to say that's 28 instead of 24.
Which is fine. We got 28 teams.
Well, 30
I've been saying
teams
they should. I've been saying they should expand the All-Stars.
Well, that's
15.
So that's what I was going to say. Like, they started. I couldn't believe this. They started doing 24 All-Stars when the league had 12 teams.
Yep.
Now we have 30 teams, still 24 All-Stars. I don't want to water it down massively, but if you added 4 new All-Stars, 4 7-player All-Star teams, and this format, I do think the playing to a score and that creates a sense of urgency. And I also think that there is a weird thing with the narrative surrounding the NBA right now where everything's just negative. Like, nobody gives a damn about the Pro Bowl, and nobody looks at it as...
But that's always been pretty bad.
Right, but nobody looks at it as an indictment on the NFL as a whole that the Pro Bowls people aren't into.
The thing is, the NBA All-Star Game used to be like must-see TV.
Exactly.
And I agree that 2020 was good, and there have been some good ones here and there. But I remember feeling in 2015 when it was in New York that it's just the competition. That's when they started shooting over 100 three-pointers, the teams combined. And that's when I think it started to get away from us. But Giannis and Victor Wembanyama, they were saying let's do international versus American.
I've heard that a few times.
Yeah, and so that's two international dudes calling for this. So I'm like, let's do that. I get it. You'd have, trouble getting maybe 12 to 15 international all-stars. Yeah. I would say if that's the format, because I think everyone would love to see that, international versus American. You just pick the all-stars like you usually do, and then if you have to add some international guys, you do to the team to fill it out.
That'll give that international player some eyes that whatever that international players that you would add.
Yeah, and they wouldn't officially be all-stars because I think you want to keep it.
You name your all-stars and
like
then you fill out the rosters.
Right.
So Draymond was part of the broadcast. He was not an all-star because, like most years of his career, he was not named to the team. But it did not stop him from, basically declaring himself czar of the All-Star weekend. Okay, so I guess I'm just going to assume that the 147 players who have made more All-Star games than Draymond Green in NBA history were not available to comment. So it was like, Draymond, it's up to you. I agree with him that the Rising Stars being a part of Sunday night, that probably should be changed. Like that part, I agree with him on that part. Where I disagree and where I am disappointed is that you're right, Brew. This is a big spotlight weekend for the league. Yep. And for Draymond to be so just vitriolic and publicly negative about the league in a time where the league, yes, it's making a ton of money because of the TV deal, but I think PR-wise, it's been a rough year. It felt like the Luka trade kind of gave the league a boost after it. And so I just don't see the need for it. And I certainly don't see the need for it on that platform when it's going to then. Today, all day long, KD has just been kind of defending the league on Twitter. Like, people are just going to complain. People want to complain. You know what? Just cancel it if you're just going to complain. Give us the full week off. And I don't think that's productive for anybody. Well, it probably, look, it may have been personal. And he brought it up that, hey, I had to work my tail off to play on Sunday night. So I get that. But I agree with you on having these rising stars on Sunday night. That gives them a stage they haven't earned. But I think the league may have done that to be like, this will get the guys to compete, because you don't want these freshmen and sophomores, that's what they call them, winning this tournament. So I think that was a part of it. Damian Lillard had a great idea. He said, get the snubs, the guys that really could have been all-stars but weren't, make that the fourth team. That would have been interesting because you still had that competitiveness there. But the bottom line is this. Draymond, while he, like you said, he made a good point or two, his ire should have been saved for the all-stars, including himself, in the past, who have turned the game into a joke. Like, they just haven't wanted to compete. Adam Silver's just looking for, how in the world can I get these dudes to play some real basketball? They play harder in the summer at UCLA and all these other places they go play than they do in the All-Star game. And that's what got us to this point that dudes weren't competing. So that's the problem, and he should have talked to the All-Stars and been like, look, that's enough for this guy. He could have added that on the broadcast. We got to start competing in this game so we don't have to pull out gimmicks and tricks. Real quick, Wayne, before we move on. I thought they were competing last night. I thought last night, whatever, and that's why I'm so bummed it's such a negative kind of conversation afterwards. I understand there was too many breaks. It was too, they need to fix some of those things. But if the goal was get guys to take it seriously and try, that was achieved. Yeah. Guys took it seriously and tried. I agree. So I don't know why there's so much negativity
the actual game
The actual games itself were good, I thought.
All right. No doubt.
Moving on to the King. He was a late scratch last night due to the ankle and foot discomfort, but it ends a 20-year streak of LeBron playing in the All-Star game. Some people weren't happy. The news came so late, so they couldn't name a replacement. Were any issues with LeBron sitting out?
Certainly no issues with him sitting out. I mean, 40 years old, had missed the regular season game with this same injury to ankle and sore foot. I'm surprised that LeBron is getting so much criticism for this. Really? He's been called selfish. Well, even some guys who have typically been defenders of LeBron have called him selfish and stuff. And my thing is, he said, I woke up, I was hoping to wake up Sunday morning and be able to play. So I think it's fine if he wakes up Sunday like, I'm going to try to give it a go, and then finds out he can't.
That's what happened.
And like the last 3 years, including this one, he has skipped Saturday practice and media availability. So the league has allowed him to do that because he's such an older guy and been there so many times. And that's all this was. And where are people jumping on Anthony Edwards? We didn't even know Ant wasn't playing until his team started playing, and he wasn't out there.
Right.
And then they announced it after the game. Yeah, Anthony Edwards is out with injury. So I have no problem with LeBron doing this. I firmly believe he was like, I'm going to give it a shot. And he couldn't go. And I think he's putting the team wisely above his own self and playing in the game.
So I obviously would have loved to see LeBron play last night. But anytime something like this happens with LeBron, I'm kind of glad because it shines such a spotlight on so many people whose entire media presence when it comes to LeBron is what he did is wrong. Like we just spent weeks, Brew, where an intermittent conversation was, man, these Pro Bowl alternates are kind of fake Pro Bowlers.
Right.
And it's not right that they're going to get it. And now all of a sudden, the last 12 hours, people are like, why won't you think of Norman Powell? Where was this 2 days ago when poor Norman Powell, who everyone was showing up to see, could have been there?
Right.
I feel, and people be like, Nick, you're a LeBron apologist. LeBron actually handled this exactly right. I don't know if I'm going to be able to play, but I think I might.
I'm going to try.
I'm going to give it the last possible minute because it will be a bummer for the weekend if I announce on Wednesday I'm out.
Right.
Yeah.
And then there is this idea that LeBron is not holding up his end. Here, no player has given more to this event than LeBron James. Most All-Star games played.
Yep.
LeBron's got 20, Cap has 18, and then Kobe and Duncan, who were there their entire careers, 15.
Yep.
What about minutes played in the All-Star game? Well, LeBron's got, again, Cap's the only one close to him. LeBron's got 20% more minutes than Kobe, who played from a teenager forever. This snapped his streak of 20 straight All-Star games
Which he probably wasn't
Did
happy
not want.
about.
Does he care? Listen,
Right.
LeBron cares about all the streaks. He cares about all the records. He snapped a streak of 20 straight. The second longest streak ever is John Havlicek and Bob Cousy with 13 straight. The second longest streak by any active player is Durant with 10 straight pre-Achilles. And now the longest active streak is Jokic with 7 straight. The idea that we are going, when he's literally the oldest guy in the league, he does have, people are like,
It's
well,
a legitimate
if
injury.
it was a playoff game, yes, of course he would have played if it was a playoff game. But that's a different scenario.
Right.
And also, the whole league comes back Thursday. The Lakers come back Wednesday because of the wildfire. They rescheduled the game.
Right.
So, it is baffling to me the amount of people that, again, if you don't think LeBron's the greatest player ever, it's a valid opinion. I disagree, but it's fine. If you think he's overrated as a basketball player, fine. But the amount of people who are like, want to almost attack his basketball character, that part's baffling to me.
I was stunned. The only thing I'll say LeBron did wrong was in the photo they took with the team. I don't think we have it.
He's in the middle?
Yeah, he's dressed up in his regular clothes and everybody else in uniform. I'm like, it would have been nice. I get it. He's not playing. Do you want to put the uniform up? But if he was either in uniform or, my suggestion, on the side, you kind of look like a coach, when the players are all lined up. But outside of that, I mean, come on. It's ridiculous to criticize LeBron for this.
You know who deserves criticism? Your guy, future GOAT Wemby.
I don't know.
We get to it right now.
It was deviously, some devious stuff going on.
And we with the skills challenge. Wemby and CP3 getting disqualified for trying to hack the system, not making valid attempts on jump shots during the timed event. Brew, you have a problem with this?
Look, everybody knows I like Wemby, and I'm saying it again. He will be better, Nick, than Akeem Olajuwon. All right, I'm saying it 10 toes down. Yeah, he will be better than Akeem.
You agree with that, Wayne?
I don't.
That's all right. Just watch and see.
Yeah.
All right, but this, I didn't like it. Come on.
It was Wemby.
I loved it. I loved it. The intelligence that this play. None of the other players thought, hold on. They didn't look at the rules and say there's a loophole. My man found a loophole. And then this shows a win at all cost mentality.
No.
Wayne, I want the dog in this dude. You 7'5", you got all those skills. This shows I come to win. All right, now, here's the thing. Everybody's, but he broke the rules. I don't advocate cheating at all, any way, shape, or form. However, Draymond Green said, look, he was on the court. He was competing in this. He said, I saw Wemby and heard him go to 5 or 6 people before this thing started, while everybody was warming up, and asked them, is it all right if we do this? And he was told yes. Now, maybe he went to the wrong people, but he said he was told yes. And here's the thing. The winning team had a minute and like 0.3 of a second. They did it in 47 seconds.
Yeah.
So they was laughing. Only thing Wemby and Chris Paul, Chris, you know Chris is smart. They should have just been like, just make it look like a shot. Don't just throw. Just make it look like a shot.
Don't be afraid to compete.
But I'm gonna give the NBA this. This is on the NBA though, Nick.
Wemby can't.
You don't have to make a shot. That's the problem. The NBA should have been like, you got to make 2 of the 3.
No, they shouldn't. No.
Or if you miss all 5, we adding time to your score. Something like that. Because
the NBA evidently foolishly thought we can trust our superstars
they
to
should
not
know about
try to embarrass themselves.
Yeah.
And again, win at all costs, so be it, for things that actually matter. Like, this is
everything.
But this is a skills competition that you are trying to win by exploiting a lack of skills. You are like
nobody questioning his skills.
I think it was a bad weekend for your guy Wemby.
I mean, it was. Well, I thought the game was fine.
But what about Joker making fun of him for bringing a book to the locker room and being like,
intelligent.
This was to me. This was a way worse look than anything that happened Sunday night.
He was on his
what
AJ
about
Brown.
with CP3?
He bought a book. He was on his AJ Brown.
Yeah, he was on his AJ Brown. He said
I'm
he had a book in the locker room. And Jokic's like, you have a book. And he was like, I read before every game. And Jokic couldn't believe it. Jokic is like, man, that's not how you win championships in this league. You need to learn from me, young fella. This was exploiting the rule. Like, the skills competition.
I'm a little bit tongue-in-cheek,
yes.
But what about Chris Paul? I mean, Chris Paul is as professional as they get. Now, we know he can, he'll flout the rules a little bit. But he went along with it.
Yeah, I don't like it.
So
I didn't like it.
I'm glad the NBA did what they did by, suspending them, because everybody would have been doing that. But I'm just saying the NBA changed the rule and say you got to make 2 of the 3.
Shots, yeah.
If you don't make any of them, you get penalized
how about
or something like that.
You don't have to change the rule.
Why even have the shot if you're not trying to make it?
Expect everyone to compete, to try to make
They should know. That's why we had a 4-team tournament.
By the way,
because they don't want to compete.
I don't know if you've checked the standings lately, Brew, but you know who has the exact same number of wins as Wemby's team? Scoot's team, the Portland Trail Blazers.
Your guy. No, you forgot. Your guy.
If Wemby's so obsessed with winning, let's get above 40 career victories a year and a half into his NBA career.
It's coming. Yeah. You know that.
I did not like that one. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.